I came home for Thanksgiving unannounced. I didn't knock. The November air clung to me like damp wool, and my breath fogged as I stepped through the side gate. The garage light hummed faintly, flickering. That's when I saw her, my mother, on a cot, wrapped in thin blankets that didn't belong to her, coughing wet into a stained rag. Her body was so small, shrunken, fragile. The smell of sickness lingered in the stale air. Inside the house, laughter spilled through the walls. A board game, glasses clinking, the exaggerated joy of people pretending life was perfect. I stood there, frozen. A soldier returned from the desert, yet somehow unprepared for this battlefield. Her voice rasped when she stirred. "Sweetheart, you're here?" I said nothing. Just bent down, slipped my arms beneath her weightless frame. She pressed against my chest like paper. Through the kitchen window I saw them, my sister, her husband, their children. Warmth, food, light. A world apart. I carried my mother inside, every step deliberate, controlled. When I reached the master bedroom, the one that should have been hers, I laid her down on their bed. They turned, faces dropping, smiles stiffening into horror. I spoke 3 words: "Explain this, now." Their faces went pale, and I knew. Silence first, the kind that burns. My sister fumbled with excuses, her voice high, brittle, rehearsed. Something about space and comfort and temporary. But the truth was smeared across the walls like grease. My mother exiled to a garage while they lived like royalty inside her home. Her home. She looked small against the pillows. Her eyes avoided mine, but her fingers clutched my sleeve as if tethering me from collapse. My brother-in-law's smirk was the final spark. It's not what you think. It never is. Until it is. I remembered childhood Thanksgivings. Mom cooking alone, my sister feigning busyness, my brother-in-law lounging, belly first, waiting. Patterns I ignored, patterns she hid. The betrayal wasn't new, it was simply louder now, visible, and something inside me shifted. Not rage, not grief, calculation. I smiled faintly, cold, empty. Of course, not what I think. But my mind had already started the count, the slow dissection of lies. I stayed 3 days, long enough to observe, long enough to see the rot. Every morning my sister slipped into Mom's room, not to care, but to search. Papers, letters, bank statements. Her whispers sharp when she thought no one heard. Her husband answered calls in the garage, phone pressed low, words clipped. Debt collectors, lawyers, something financial brewing beneath the surface. The children, innocent, asked me why Grandma couldn't sleep inside. My sister hushed them quickly, too quickly. I listened. I waited. At night, when the house was still, I searched. Not drawers, too obvious. Instead, patterns. Receipts tucked between cookbooks, passwords scribbled in old calendars, tax returns folded into hymnals. What I found froze me. Mom's pension, her savings, her name on documents that now bore unfamiliar signatures. My sister's, her husband's, power of attorney. Taken when pneumonia clouded her memory, when weakness blurred her strength. I said nothing. Instead, I made copies, quietly, methodically, every page photographed, encrypted, stored. Evidence building like a noose. I played the role of dutiful son. I cooked, I carried, I smiled. But beneath it, the truth sharpened like a blade against stone. The lawyer's office smelled of dust and varnish. I handed her the folder. She flipped page by page, her brow tightening with each forged line. "This won't hold," she said. "Fraud, easily proven." I nodded. My pulse didn't rise, my breath didn't shake. That night I returned with quiet certainty. Dinner was half eaten when I dropped the folder onto the table. Papers slid free, spreading like spilled secrets. My sister stared. Her fork clattered. Her husband's face flushed red. I didn't raise my voice. Your signatures. Her money. Her house. Mom's eyes widened, confusion flickering into clarity. A tear slipped, but I didn't touch it. My sister stammered, denial tangled in her throat. Her husband slammed a fist, tried to loom, but I stayed seated, calm, unmoved. Tell her what you've done, I said. The silence that followed was heavier than rage. They broke first, panic unraveling their poise. I remained still, ice against fire. Morning came gray. I packed Mom's things, folded her blankets, her clothes, her photographs into my duffel. My sister followed me down the hall, whispering, pleading. We didn't mean... I stopped, turned, met her eyes with the same calm I'd worn in war zones. You meant every second. Her husband waited by the door, jaw tight, fists balled. But when I opened it, two men in suits stepped forward. The lawyers investigators. Quiet, efficient. I handed them the folder. This house isn't yours, I said. Not anymore. The color drained from their faces. Their empire of lies collapsed under its own weight. Mom stood beside me, leaning on my arm, but taller somehow, stronger now that the truth breathed in the open. We walked out together, past their silence, past their ruin. I didn't look back. The road stretched empty as we drove. Mom asleep against the window, her breaths steady for the first time in weeks. I thought of childhood, of promises, of blood that binds but also poisons. Family is not sacred, not when it rots from within. I felt no pity, no sorrow, only clarity. They had gambled everything on her weakness, but they forgot. Weakness is temporary. Proof is permanent. I tightened my grip on the wheel, steady, cold. The past was ash. The house, theirs no longer. My mother, safe. And them, left to choke on their own lies. The final thought came sharp, clean. I hadn't taken revenge. I'd simply returned what was stolen. And that was enough.